Everyone. I am here with Magdalena, the raw coconut girl. She is another contributor in the Plant Based Bundle, and I wanted to bring her on and chat with her. Magdalena, how are you doing today?
I'm fruitful. Thank you.
Fruit.
How are you?
I am fruitful as well. Yes, I had my fruit already today.
Oh, I haven't yet. I dry fast today, but I'm gonna do that soon for sure. I'm gonna start with my juice. Grape. Actually, I have a grapefruit juice now. Yeah. Oh, there are really good grapefruits here.
Oh, nice.
Upstate New York.
I had some navel oranges. We had some juice. It was good.
Oh, my God. The
Very good.
season is coming. Yeah.
I think it just hit out here. I think like this week we're finally getting the navels in California, so it's really awesome.
Oh, in California, you're in California. Yeah, that's amazing. I hope they don't wax them.
Yeah, I get them from the farm, so they're picked off the tree. So hopefully they're not waxed, but you never know.
Yeah, well, yeah. We never know, so it's better to wash it always, right?
Yeah,
And
exactly,
make
always.
sure that it's yeah.
Yeah. So, all right. So I wanted to start off with, we start off with everyone's story. I'd love to hear kind of everyone's journey and how they got to be this, on this health journey. And how did you start? How did you get here? How did you become the raw coconut girl and get into detox and all that?
Oh my heavens. I started in a very young age. At the very young age, I my mom is like, why don't you tell the truth? Why you say you're like 9 years on fruits? You're a whole lie on fruits. You're on fruits as I remember. You don't know when I eat anything else but fruits. And even here today with my family, we had a dinner last night, and they're like, yeah, oh my God, always fruits, of course, and no one even cares anymore. No one even comments. They were eating their chicken, turkey, and sauces and fat from the meat was all over me. You know what I mean? Because they were like passing dishes and, oh, please pass me that salad with a turkey in it, everything based on turkey. And I'm sitting here like in front of them with my bowl full of papayas. And I'm just munching on them and they're eating their stuff. So that's how I started. I just started intuitively bringing fruit into my environment, into my family's environment, into my life. And since I was a little girl. So I started this in a very intuitive way, feeling like this is what I'm designed for. Like I brought it from my past lives, definitely. And it was something incredible to experience. I was very blessed. And also the possibility of doing it at home, where, not both my parents were on the same page. So that had to be, cleared up within years. But with my mom was way easier than my dad, of course. My mom was very chilly and chillaxed, and she was like, yeah, just eat whatever you want, and I wanted just fruits only. So yeah, and it wasn't easy with the fruits back then, but we always had tons of fruits because of me in the house, and because of my mom. She's a really fruit lover as well. So that's how I started. I climbed all the trees around the neighborhood. So believe me or not, I could come back home very late. My mom was like screaming, like in Europe, mom calls you for a dinner. Magdalena, dinner on the table. All the moms are doing it when you're like playing in a background, like a playground somewhere else. So that's how mom lets you know it's time to come back home. And so she kept doing it, and I was always on that tree sitting eating these green apples or plums or cherries. And I was just like bringing the bags of it back home, and we enjoy it. So that was my summertime back to Poland, and or any other cities that I was visiting. I always was looking for fruit trees or bushes where with gooseberries. We have such good gooseberries in Poland. Blueberries, blackberries, strawberries. Different kinds of berries. Really, like they're very even. Like a currants as well. Black currant, and it's very hard to get them here. So yeah.
Yeah.
Fun stuff.
That's awesome. So your family was just like, okay, we're just gonna feed her fruit. She wants to eat fruit.
Yeah, at first was like I think my mom is very conscious person. So, and there is a reason why I'm her daughter, I guess, you know. I'm blessed with such an amazing mom, incredible. She really we never even argued in our lives. We never had an argument. We are so same with my grandma, but she passed away unfortunately 2 years ago. And my sister, we are very like bonded, and we don't have arguments. When we argue, we laugh actually, so it turns into big laugh, you know, and we laugh at each other. But it's just such a loving, yeah, environment. And I think that consciousness of my mom teaching me never judge anybody, don't be ever jealous of anybody else's journey or their lifestyle or the way they look. You're perfect, you're this, you're doing your lifestyle, you know, you love fruits, you know, you love them, do it, you know, they're healthy. And it's amazing because everybody else's would tell my mom to not to do it, but nobody else's knew. You know, my mom was feeding me with like chicken broth or something, let's say, you know, because of course sometimes she was doing this, making these things for my dad and, you know, my brother. So or for celebrations as well, different kind of celebrations. So she's feeding me like as she's leaving the room. I'm like putting under the pillow, you know. I just was looking at any free pillow or any pillowcases. Oh my god! We had a dog. The dog ate everything, and unfortunately, later the dog died from a kidney failure. And I didn't know back then to not to feed the dog, but they fed the dog anyway. Everything that was cooked back then too. So rice, you know, unfortunately, everything with the rice. So that's how we used to live. Everybody, you know, most people in Europe too. So that was something natural, but I kind of felt guilty after, you know, feeding the. I didn't want to eat, but
yeah. You just don't think about it, you know, with our pets. And it was eye-opening to me when I got a cat, and I was like, whoa, I used to feed my cat this, you know, and that's what typical people like, you know, the dry food and the stuff in the store. And it's like, what? Like, no wonder our pets are living short lives these days, you know, like.
yeah, yeah, it's yeah. So every other animal, actually every animal that if you look diving deeper into genetics and in general into the way they're designed to eat, right? And in a general form also, the way they are exploring the world. They if you would serve the dog raw fruit or something that is cooked, of course the dog would go into the fruit as well when it's a puppy. You know, once you are not you know, hypnotizing the dog with other stuff, antibiotics that are in the food and other, of course the dog is an omnivore, right? So they can really eat anything, but not anything, to be honest, because you can hurt the kidneys. And once the kidneys shut down, there's my brother lost his dog due to the kidneys failure as well. And I remember when the dog got sick, I recommended my brother, like, I'm like, hey, you know, please try to feed him raw, like raw meat, and just stop with all of this. And he's like, okay, I will. And the dog got better for a little bit, but other family members were feeding the dog still the way they were feeding it. And the dog died quickly, you know, and that was my brother's best friend, you know, so I felt for him so bad. I'm like, see, but now you know that the raw food brought him back, you know. And then he got weaker and weaker when they were feeding him with cooked food, other people. So, you know, that's life, but I guess, but you really, yeah, we just need to be aware, I guess, have more awareness and consciousness and spread it around the world so people can change and evaluate from that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's tough with animals, you know, they're our family, you know, it's tough. We want to feed them as well. It's funny, I spend so much money on my cat. I have a cat, so she eats raw meat, and she eats raw meat, bones and organs. That's what they should be eating because they're, you know, carnivores. She's very healthy, very healthy. So it's interesting, like the energy level that she has on that compared to if I were to give her the dry food, it's significantly different, you know, so it's crazy. But I
Wow.
wanted to touch with you
Uh-huh.
though. So you are also a detox specialist from trained by
Mhm.
Dr. Morse, just like me. I love Dr. Morse. So how did you get into Dr. Morse? How did you find him?
Uh, um, well, so I started very early learning about iridology. I think my first book, I was very young, my grandma had. So I was really into eyes. I painted eyes everywhere, like everywhere you would go to my like notes from the back to school, you would see eyes that I just drew eyes everywhere. And they were everywhere, all over the place. And I even created art pieces like a big size, and eyes were everywhere. I was so like all the fibers, I was so like interested in it that I started studying it in such a young age, instead of like going into silly, not like stories, book stories. Not, no offense to anybody, of course, because I loved them too, but I prefer to read about the anatomy or something that it's how we are exist on this planet, or built we are built. And uh yeah, I loved just learning. And and then so that was my journey. I was like 15 years old when I started doing kind of like like my own iridology, like the way I learned through the books, just pictures and stuff. And then I just I would say in my own way from what I learned. And I tried to do it on my family, like my mom, my dad, like just try to do it around my family a lot. mm, and then more like play, like a game thing, on the animals, but I didn't know that they kind of be different back then, because it's like, you're a teenager, so you just
Yeah.
grow with it. So but I still was like very into. And yeah, and I started from animals, helping animals. I had actually my mom got celiac disease, and when I was very like a teenager, and they told her that she may have a cancer, so if she want to change her diet. And we immediately, my mom switched her diet into raw. She was like consuming gluten-free diet, full of raw food and mostly fruits. And she doesn't have a celiac disease anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, it stopped
Weird.
existing in her body. Yeah,
Yeah.
so of course she did a herbal protocol. I gave her that recommendation. I created a protocol for her. I did iridology reading for her, and we did like 14-week protocol. And that put her on a really, like, restarted her fully, even better than she used to be. And so that helped. And that's how we started, like literally with our own experience. So I didn't even know about Dr. Morse back then, even though we did connect through the spiritual world. And Dr. Morse is always like, when we work together, he's like, oh yeah, past lives, Magdalena. Yeah, hi from past lives. So we do definitely know each other from past lives. That's how we started,
That's
I
cool.
guess, all of that journey of working on the school later on. And yeah, so that's definitely something beautiful that showed up my way, that I finally found someone who is allowing me to eat fruits only.
Mhm. Yeah.
And I'm like, Dr. Morse, you're the only one who is not looking at me like I am a weirdo from, I don't know, out of this world, like she eats only fruits. She's a weirdo, like in a school.
Mhm.
Why she doesn't eat that, So I was even for school, I was making sandwiches that the base was like, instead of the sandwich, I had a fruit, and I wrapped the fruit into with so it looks like a sandwich, so kids wouldn't blame me that I don't eat bread, you know. That
Like an
was
apple,
ridiculous.
maybe like an apple slice or something.
Yeah, I wait, what was that? I did use I what I did with the knife, let's say I was taking banana and and I did like very thin layer of banana, and I was just like cutting them in a little smaller pieces and putting something between, right? Like an apple or like smaller sandwiches or something, kind of looking, you know, or I wrap them around like a roll, you know, wrap them around the apple or something. I was just and using the what's that called? Um I forget the name. The wood that you put
Like a toothpick?
in. Yeah. Yeah. So to put the so it holds together, you know, and yeah, or yeah, I was like very creative. I tried to make something out of nothing, and we didn't have dehydrator back then. There was like, you know, not a big variety of tools to
Yeah.
use, but knife. So yeah, that was fun. It was fun. Or I, you know, I really was creative. Wait, there was something else I was using for the sandwiches. What was that? What fruit was that? Um, I remember I ate a lot of apples because we do have really good apples in Poland. But oh, I know what I was doing. I was having apples and I froze them very often. And defrosted apples tasted the best. So
Really?
they were sweeter than ever, and same with grapes.
Hmm.
They're sweeter than ever. So I packed them in a jar or in a plastic container back then. And I was like eating and telling everybody I'm bringing ice cream for school. Where that was more like a smoothie and melted apples after a few hours, but still, you know. And I put cinnamon in it. I put coconut flakes. I put nuts, uh, just to have some crunchy effect, but not always. But to not to feel like I'm too weird, I put just some stuff that people can figure out what it is, you know, because everybody was observing what I'm eating. And very often there was just apples. I lived on apples all the time, and everybody would remembered me every break that we had from one class between the classes. I always had an apple, or apples actually, few apples, you know, rather than like people, other kids had sandwiches or something. I always had apples. So yeah, I was insanely into, and I am still in into fruits. So I don't feel like stopping. I love this lifestyle. Yeah.
What keeps you going with it? I mean, I kind of go in and out of it. I'm in right now. I think today's day like 18 or 19, 100% fruit. So it's like I go in and out of it, but what keeps you in? Like what holds you to it?
My spirit. And um and I love, I know people don't like this feeling, but I do. I float around. I'm not here all of the time, most of the time. Even now I'm here because I'm more grounded. I had a lot of avocados last night because I wanted to like be at the level where my family is.
Yeah.
It's not worse or better, so don't get me wrong, but I needed to leave the, you know what I mean. I don't like judge people. I am free of judge. That's why I also say that. Like I like to dive. Like I was so deep, somewhere between the places. Like I was just so. I'm very happy and vibrant, and I went to that fat, and you won't believe, but I became shy. I became more like, I don't want to talk actually today. It was weird because I'm always very happy, you know, and but I did something different than I always do, and it wasn't meant for me either. Yesterday I didn't feel like doing it, but something was telling me to be in this world, to ground yourself, you know. It's not only barefoot walk, it's not only hugging the trees or being around the nature. That may not be enough when you are on fruits that long. I guess I need to ground myself, and then fat helped me a lot with that. It's just put me in the stage of being here, you know. And I'm like, now I feel like a human again. I want to sleep. I'm tired after food, you know, like they were, you know.
Yeah.
Oh no, we all need a nap. And yeah, I was the one who was energized, so I was like, okay, I gotta eat more fat to be tired like them. So kind of like you adjust.
Yep.
It's a day of chillaxing, yeah, like I like to call it. So you know, you can get a little different than that it's like a low fat thing, but for me, but you know, but why not? I like to try things too with the fruits and combine them with other stuff, you know, like my aunt, if when she prepares something for me, I don't know, like it's raw salad or something, I won't tell her no, you know, if she bought all the organic ingredients for me, buying and like preparing something for me, so to make me feel good for any Christmas or holidays, then of course I would have it, you know, like but that's not nothing that I would normally choose, and I'm not choosing that on a daily basis. Not 100% is my fruit based. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I did the
That
same thing yesterday. I had durian so it could ground me down a little bit because I'm like, I don't want to be all up here when my friends are like drinking alcohol and eating turkey, you know. So I'm like, I need to kind of come down. So I had some durian. So the fatty, I came down a little bit.
that's good. You had durian. Oh,
Oh, yeah.
dang! I didn't. You know, I didn't even think about durian. Perhaps perhaps I would have to have a lot of this, a lot of durian if I would order it from Thailand, or I would have to have so many bags, unless I would order the big frozen one.
Yeah,
I didn't
I
even
can get
think
them
that was.
frozen. Yeah, I just got like a frozen one, a full frozen one. It was like $17, so I can get them full out here in California pretty easily. And it'll probably get cheaper over like Christmas. It's really cheap, so I'm like, it's actually gonna get cheaper. So I'm excited.
Yeah, that's really. I know why. Now I know why I didn't get it, because I overate on durians on Maui. It had a lot of durians. There were months where I was on durians all the time, and for me it became less of the celebrative part, you know, like a food,
Yeah,
into more like a just whatever I crave it, I have it, you know, more like that. So intuitively, I follow intuitively, and I craved more avocado. I didn't even have a flavor, because if I would have a flavor, I would definitely get some, you know. But I'm very into champadak. That's actually, durian was always my number one, but now it changed a lot, and I love champadak. It's my favorite. I could just
I haven't
eat
had
it all day
that. I
long.
want to try that. I haven't had that on
It's
my
so
on
good.
my list. That one and soursop is on my list. I haven't had soursop, but like I
No
can't. It's
way.
so hard to get out here. It's so expensive to get out here. It's like $80 for just a fruit. I'm like, I'm not doing that.
Oh my heaven. I will tell you an example if you don't mind. Uh, I loved soursop. Maybe like 4 years ago, I was in love with soursop. Um, 2 years ago, I started having soursop, and my body rejects it. I puke immediately after.
Huh.
Yeah, I do not like persimmons. I used to love persimmons. I got all the nutrients, you know, for a year consuming them, whatever, and my body doesn't want them anymore. I am very like, I became very simple stick. Like I don't need much to feel satisfied right now. Like I can have a half of watermelon and that's my breakfast. In the back in time, I would have like full big watermelon, and 10 minutes later I would be hungry, but okay, I'm gonna wait just 20 minutes, and then I would have something, you know. But now I have like half of a watermelon, I'm full, then I'm waiting for a little bit and have another fruit, you know. And it's, yeah, very, and once I eat salad, I'm always hungry and unsatisfied, and I feel empty in my stomach. That's why that avocado helps a lot to fill it up, to
Yeah.
feel that heaviness, you know.
Yeah. I know
Yeah.
I'm on detox right now, so I'm doing the herbs and I'm eating the fruits. So I'm staying away from avocado. But yeah, I had some durian yesterday, so I'm like, that's not quite detox, but it's okay. It was Thanksgiving.
No. Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
still
Please.
fruit.
Yeah.
It's still fruit, you
Yeah.
know.
The guilt will kill you more than just like having a pleasure one time, you know, or I don't know, once a week even, you know, when you're like not, I always say, when you are not suffering seriously from any health problems, if you have like a just like a one step back day for like with one meal,
Not a problem.
go for it, you know. And I'm not saying here about meat or dairy, of course. I'm saying here about detoxification, like even like having an avocado, bigger avocado, whatever. That's what it's nice to give yourself a price, and then you can hit again with the detox, you know.
Yeah.
And yeah,
I know.
so
Like, I got a couple more weeks of pushing, and I'm like, then I'm done for a
good.
little bit. No more detoxing. I've been detoxing for a while, so I'm like, I'm done.
When did you start it?
Oh man. Like a while, because I was doing someone else's first, because I was, I like to try, because I love our method. Our method is amazing. I think the herbs and the fruit, I think it is the best way to go. I feel the best that way. But there's all these other methods and different practitioners trying different things. I'm like, oh, try their stuff, and it's never the same. I feel bad. It's never the same stuff, and I'm like, this isn't how it should be. And so
No.
I was doing something else for 6 weeks that was not, it was through a bioenergetic test. And so kind of more orthomolecular supplement stuff that, isn't quite right, but I like to try
Mhm.
and like to see. And I'm like, this isn't right. This doesn't work. So I'm back on the herbs, back on the fruit. And it's like, you can feel it, it's like the power of fruit, how you feel. It feels so good, and taking the
Wow.
herbs. I'm working on heavy metals right now to get those out. So taking the herbs for heavy metals and
Ooh,
doing a
that's a
lot of
big,
sauna. So the sauna is like daily.
wow, good for you. Go girl.
Yeah.
Go
Hitting
girl.
it.
Yeah, that's perfect. That's amazing. Actually, it's interesting. I went through so many these detox protocols. I got to the point where my body, it became very smart. Like, I don't need to go fully on detox anymore, like fully on herbs, which is the way it should be,
Mhm.
that we stop at a certain time. And but I need to tell you, the body is incredible, the way it heals. I don't know, even just like you look at people at your age, and you see all these wrinkles, and then you look at yourself in the mirror like, wow, I don't even have this wrinkle, like not even this. And they said that this is created when you are 30 already, and I didn't even
Mhm.
get that. So it's just you base on the charts that they teach us, and that the influencers that they're following, and oh, you need to get Botox because at this age and this age, this is collagen is like whatever, you know, weaker, and is receiving, and then you just need to like rejuvenate your skin, do this and that, and then you're like looking at yourself like that's not true.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's very like no, when listen, like of course I know on myself, if I would haven't have enough juicy fruits, and like I have an avocado or durian for 2 days straight, the body becomes uh, weaker. Like I can feel like my face is dry, and I'm like, oh, what this wrinkle is about? It's dry, it's dry, no hydration. Once you come back with juices, once you come back with whole fruits, juicy fruits, wrinkles are gone.
Mhm.
Same with the cellulite, anything that women's usually suffer.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just like amazing how the body can reduce it. And also, I work with the bioart science of healing as well. And that's the course that I created for Dr. Morse's International School of the Healing Arts. And then I teach the vibration of the food, but not only the colors, how important they are, and the colors that we don't even know how to learn them, how to learn how to read aura, how, in a safe way, because there are so many energies that are trying to put on us, like all these teachings on YouTube, or meditations and stuff, and it's so crucial to remember. I always like to say, all my clients that they come to me, careful with who you meditate, like try to do it very safe, in a safe way. And yeah, all these accesses, the way you can utilize your energy in order to help others with your hands, and just energy healing sessions and things. So that can be so powerful on our levels. Oh, I played with energy since I was a little girl too. I didn't even know what I'm doing.
No.
Yeah, it was crazy. I started from my mom that she had a headaches and stomach pains for years due to the celiac disease, but she didn't know back then. So she was consuming still like bread, white bread, back then and stuff. And she didn't know that. And I remember she was one time suffering so bad on her armchair. Like she was just like bending like this. Oh my God. I'm like, Mom, what happened? And like I was like 7 or 8, I remember. My mom said that I was like 6 when that happened. Um, but anyway, I went to her I'm like, Mommy, what's going on? And she's like, it hurts again. It hurt. And I only remember her when I was a kid in pain, you know, and with her stomach. And I always was so scared for her health. So I came to her and I just did it on her my first energy healing session. You know, I just connected with the universe, with God, and I just passed her the energy from there, and her pain went away. And my mom was like, I always knew you're special. And that's why my mom believed in my journey and fruits. And every time she had pain, she was like, Magdalenka, you want to do the session for me? You know. And I learned, I actually I think I don't want to be full of myself or sound full of myself, but I at some point I master the way I can use that energy, because when I was a kid, I still was learning how to use it. But when I was a kid, actually, I learned the most, because that was pure, innocent, and I still remember the past, you know, that what I brought with me here. And I started just taking care of it as I got, you know, more mature and developed as a human. I started just opening other doors, but I still was crafting and, you know, taking care of the craft that I was designed to do. And I always believe that everybody of us, each of us, is having that gift. We're talented, but talent is different than the gift. Talent is something that you can also learn within the time, and then you're discovering it, right? But the gift is something you were given, and you may never find out what it is in this life if you don't have a good guidance or masters, or you weren't born to do that at this time. But we all have this special gifts, and I believe that we can definitely pass it on and help. If we would have more like teachers that are doing this job in a clean way, not like, you know, I would say Reiki can be very, you know, distracting, and definitely something that can how to say it, like cause a lot of miscommunications with the waves, with the any energies that are around. It's just totally different frequency that I'm not, for example, following. But so I stay away from that, and I try to always find the safest way to follow, to not to get all these bad energies around us later on, or bad karma. So I always, same with detox, always the safest way. What's the safest way? Avoid enemas. Try everything, just do it with herbs. Yeah. You don't need colonics. I healed with no colonics, no enemas. Dr. Morse healed on oranges, no enemas in the forest. So, you know, there's so many people that are healed just without enemas or any other crazy stuff.
Yeah, people spend so much money on, you know, this supplement or that, or this pill or that, and it's like, you don't need the collagen. The collagen is the one thing I hear the most a lot in the pain-free community, you know. So it's I'm like, you don't need all that stuff, especially it's probably causing more pain, you know.
Yeah. It's so sad. It's so sad. You know, I'm so happy that see Dr. Morse, our beautiful Dr. Morse, teaches so beautifully about this path, and then he got shut down on YouTube.
Yeah.
So and we knew that's gonna happen sooner or later, right? But still it happened. And why? No, that there was a truth, right? So, and my videos, I had videos, we had videos together. I posted there too on my profile. They deleted them, and also videos with Dr. Marcy that deleted them. We had a lot of videos with Dr. Marcy too, and they deleted videos, and I'm just, this is ridiculous, you know. So I don't even, I have them, I have saved, so I'm probably gonna post it somewhere one day. But yeah, but that was also, okay, why?
It's hard.
I didn't even say any offensive word there. I never said something is bad for us. I just was talking about natural ways, you know, like you can do that, you can use that. They're just choices. So people know their choices. Yeah, they have choices.
Yeah, it's tough in this space. I know. I think I wrote something about vitamin D on Instagram one time. This was a while back, and I was shadow banned for 6 months. And I'm like, what the? So it's tough because you have to be very careful with what you say, you know, and it's like it's hard. It's hard. It's very hard.
Dear, I will tell you the example too. That was a good one. Thank you for bringing it up. In Poland, and where I come from originally, people have these trends and they follow them. First was a juice trend, and you know, and there were a lot of people coming to me after they juice fast for like 150 days. I'm like, what did you do to yourself? Why are you starving yourself? Starving, Magdalena, this is a trend. I feel amazing. I'm like, but do you see how you look? You're skinny, you know, and I look amazing. I feel amazing. And yeah, that's too much. So a lot of people are getting into these disorders, and this is sad. Then they come back and the newspaper wrote, oh, this person died, or that they were raw vegan. Actually, they were vegetarian or something, right? But they didn't do it correctly. Even eating meat, you can die. My uncle said last night his a coworker's wife was eating a turkey on a, you know, Thanksgiving, one of the Thanksgivings, and she ate a bone of the turkey because she, you know, she likes to like, and the turkey's bone is like a knife. It's so sharp when when it's chopped, like one little piece, even, you know, can go into your colon, and it can cut through the colon. And that's what happened to this lady. They barely saved her, you know. So if you can die from eating something like that, no one ever died from eating fruits or raw food. So don't be too much, you know. And so then the trend became into a trend of enemas. And I was the one who banished all of that, and I got some hate from people too. I don't care, whatever you want to say. I believe what I believe. I know, I work with people, I see what is happening when people are following enemas constantly. It's bad. And then now it's a trend of dry fasting every other day. So they eat fully on one day, fruits. The next day they fast all day. And then they eat and fast. And one of my colleagues has been doing that for over a year straight. I'm like, what are you doing? I'm like, what is that? But Dr. Morse recommends dry fast.
Yeah.
So I'm like, well, I guess someone needs to learn more about Dr. Morse's teaching. So, and our experiences, we have experience with that too. So, like, you're an amazing example as well to show people what works, what not, especially that you're trying to go through all these detox, the detoxes levels, you know, that you're trying to like, check out other teachings too.
Yeah, I like to see what works, you know, because there's a lot out there. And, you know, these functional, it's like they're very close to Dr. Morse's teachings, you know, it's natural medicine, it's all that, but it's not quite there, you know. And I think with Dr. Morse's, the lymphatic system was key, you know, like just learning about that. And that's the missing link I see in every other teaching. 100% every other teaching is they're missing that lymphatic system.
Yes. And even if they know about lymphatic system, they will tell you, oh, liver is the most important organ in the body, or pituitary. I even heard that. You know, every kind of like teachings is different, and I'm like, okay, prove me. Oh, this doctor said this. Okay, but is he into iridology? Does he know? There are many amazing doctors, of course, and they can teach amazing things as well, right? But just be wise, be smart with who you're picking, right, to work with. And and I think being cautious is important. It's like with every human being you meet on the street, same thing. You need to be cautious. You
Yeah,
know.
I'm curious with your eyes, with iridology. Have your eyes changed colors at all? Have you seen changes in
Oh,
your eyes?
I love this question. Thank you.
I know mine
So
have. So I'm like, yeah, I have yours.
you have what color of your eyes?
So mine used to be really dark green and now they're like turning more blue. So it's really cool. And people are like,
Ah,
well, you
I
have blue. And
see
I'm like,
your
I
blue eye.
never would have heard blue eyes ever in my life. So you can't, I don't know if you can tell, but
You
they're like,
do have such a crazy blue eyes. I mean, in a beautiful way.
oh, thank you.
Wow. I do. Yeah. Wow. I always wanted to have blue eyes, by the way, when I was little. Um, uh, Doctor must told me, Magdalena, you may have blue eyes underneath. I'm like,
Oh, you
really?
might?
Because my hair gets bright really nicely in the sun, in the water. So he's like, but you're tan, you're darker skin, that would be interesting, blue eyes, dark skin, or even if I have brown eyes, that's kind of wild having light hair.
Mhm.
But anyway, I was born with black eyes. And
Oh.
we were talking about it yesterday with my family. I was teaching them a little bit about iridology, and they're like, Magdalena, but you were born with the darkest eyes, like with your cousin. You guys both had the darkest eyes in the family. And I'm like, well, you need to see my eyes in the iridology camera, because I had really dark eyes. You couldn't even see the iris.
Mm.
And well, now they're brown. They're not the black anymore, because I cleaned up all these crap, from so many years before. And also then I also was under anesthesia 4 times within a short period of time, when I had that a tragic ski accident, when I was in a wheelchair for a while. That also hurt me badly. So that hit my lymphatic system even worse. And I had I was under 5 anesthesias in my life, so it's plenty.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot. So before, I had tonsils removed as well. So without the tonsils, I healed amazingly still. And I do have to be careful with what I breathe and what I'm around. If I am around the fire pit or something, I need to be careful. But we had a fire yesterday, and that was the first time I didn't cough.
Mm.
So something built up there, that supports me. Yeah. Energetically, everything is fine. Everything is there,
Yeah.
just physically.
I have another question I'm super curious for, because I'm like, I wonder. So you left Maui and now you're in Florida. How is the fruit compared to Florida, Hawaii and Florida? Because I've never been to Florida and ate the fruit, and everyone says it's so good, and I'm like, I'm curious.
Oh, I haven't. You need to come.
I am. I'm going out there for Woodstock Fruit Festival, so I am going soon. But
Oh, you are? Okay. So, oh my heavens. So I lived in Florida before. I was in a different places this time. So I have to say, and I will be totally honest, that I miss Maui from the bottom of my heart, and I'm definitely gonna be there soon again if it comes to fruits. Maui is Florida has the texture of the fruit is not the same. I haven't been on the farm there, like serious. I know there's a lot of farms on the side of Miami, and I heard they're really good. But I'm wondering if these people ever tried fruits on Hawaii, or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they say they're really good, but have you ever tried? Like, just curious. If they did, then I had some fruits from I think Miami Fruit Farm, and once I got this egg fruit, and I had one that was amazing. The second one, I puked everything, and a whole box was like I couldn't even finish. So when I puke after fruit, I know that it wasn't ripened properly, or it was picked too early. So probably after soursop, I had similar effect. But even the ripest one, honestly, I cannot stand. It's immediately. I can't even swallow it. So at some certain level, when the body absorbs all these nutrients, you just don't need them anymore, you know, and you just need other fruit that is, I guess, more. But yeah, but so comparing where I was now up north, and also yeah, Port Charlotte, Punta Gorda, but I was in Fort Myers area, and Fort Myers had pretty good stores to go to when they really had a good fruit. Up north, closer to Orlando,
No.
I do not recommend. Miami, I think, would be best if it comes to like being on fruits. That's the closest place. But I do really recommend to go to Hawaii to try the fruit from all the islands, because it's insane. Yeah, the Maui thing kind of like pushed everybody away for now. But you know, but it's gonna be back. It's gonna be rebuilt. It just takes time. Yeah.
I got a box of Hawaiian papayas, like from Hawaii, like from off the ship, you know, and I think they'll be ripe today. So I'm really excited because they're so excited. They're so
But
good.
I hope they're not GMO.
I don't think they're GMO. No, I don't think they're the GMO ones. They're the small ones, the small little ones.
Yeah, you wanna definitely ask the company that is shipping to you where they're coming from, because they do produce so many GMO papayas on Maui, mostly on Maui, depending on where they come from. But you know, there are parts that are organic and GMO free. Of course, they do, and in Whole Foods usually they sell GMO free papayas. On Maui. We had only one Whole Foods there, so.
So how would you know then? You would just ask the grower, or because there's nothing, like there's no stickers, you know, like you would ask the grower.
Do you know the
No, I don't. I mean, there's a website. I could probably there's a whole website.
Ask, hey, what I want to know where these coming from. Are they GMO free? Because if they are not, there is Monsanto on Maui, and there is Molokai, I believe, where they have all these plantations of papayas, and they're all genetically modified.
Good to know. Now I'll do my research.
Yeah, and they are all. I think that's Molokai. If correct me if I'm wrong, anybody. But that's the island, the just the closest to Maui, and that island has also lots of deer, and yeah, that's actually. They have such a big population there of deers. And you know, it's amazing how to just like with the island, with the connections, like everybody would tell you that even people that eat meat, they don't want to consume GMO papaya. Like people don't support that. But they still try to push it because it's the most popular fruit on Maui. Yeah. In Hawaii in general, papaya. Yeah.
I know, now I'm curious. I'm gonna have to go look it up after we're done on this. I'm like, it was expensive.
Yeah, you can always return it saying, yeah, that's a crap, you know. Please.
It's true, yeah. It's true, yeah. Well, I go to these Vietnamese fruit markets, so they don't speak any English. So I'm like
I do not trust that. I am careful with
I need to speak to them in English.
Yeah, please talk to me in English. If you cannot speak in English, I kind of feel like they're hiding something. Yeah. You know, and it's nothing offensive to these people, but I do know some Vietnamese people, and some just like from Asia people, in Maui as well. And their products vary. Like, you need to be careful, you know, what you're buying, because that's how they've been taught to do something, and they think it's right. So you think it's clean, but then you dive in deeper into, and it's fine. They were taught that way, so that's not their fault either, unfortunately. And then you're diving deeper, like, okay, but can you tell me what's in it? And they get even irritated. They get angry. And I noticed that many times, like, can you just please tell me if you spray it? No, you know, but like, can you say it like nicely to me? But because when you get offensive like this, then I know that you're hiding something, you know, because it's something like, oh, wow, she noticed something. Now I'm going to be pissed off, you know? So it's just like normal reaction of human, I guess, and they cannot hide it. so you can easily tell. Yeah, but I hope they're gonna be able to respond you.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, now I'm gonna ask. So now I'm like, all right, now I learned something.
Yeah, yeah. Please make sure, because they like to, they're companies and companies, you know.
Mhm.
There are fair and nice businesses, like I running my food manufacturing business in Maui when I was still there. I mean, I still live there. I'm just temporary out of there until it gets just clean and good to live again. But you want to make sure and ask questions, because you know, people, I never would put in my products anything that it's not organic. If I was missing an ingredient, I substitute it with something that it's organic, or I didn't put it in it, you know. And doesn't matter what other people say, just follow your truth, the truth, not your truth, the truth. There is no your truth, it's the truth. Yeah, it's one. And I'm like, just follow it and tell people the truth. If there is a nut in it, tell them, because there are allergies, unfortunately, and nowadays. Yeah, we know how to deal with them, right? We can, we have an idea. I'm trying to be cautious with everything, but we do have an idea how to do it. Uh and then you know, some people just like to do it easier way, but they do trust your product, you know. And when I have had nuts in certain products, I told them, hey, this is full of nuts, you don't want it. Or I made a mistake and something was dropped from the blender to my recipe and there were nuts, and then I'm telling them it may contain nuts, you know. Like, you just want to warn people. Even if there's a mistake that happened, they should be warned, you know. And yeah, and just give them a heads up, because you never know. And just being safe, cautious, I think coming with love, and that's gonna spread a beautiful message, yeah, back. So yeah.
Yeah, definitely
Well,
good to
I'm
hear.
gonna be, excuse me.
Sorry, I'm sorry, what were you saying?
No, I don't want to like I can talk on and on, you know.
Oh no, you're fine. No, I wanted to just kind of bring up your want to just touch on your book that you have in the bundle. It was really exciting because it's a
Oh,
sweet book. And so it's
yeah.
definitely, you know, those sweet tooths. People are kind of like, they go vegan, they're like, what am I going to eat? I can't have my processed, you know, cakes and sugars, but it's like your book has some amazing stuff in it. So can you share
Thank
maybe
you.
can you share your inspiration behind it or
Oh, I would love to. Yeah. Oh, my grandma. She was my inspiration. So she it's so funny. She didn't eat healthy at all. She did leave over a little over 90s, which is amazing nowadays, but she could live longer, and she lost her sight. So first, before she passed away. So she was like encyclopedia, knowing each herb. She knew everything. Anything you ask her, she knew. She was bringing up the whole war. She went through the World War II. Uh, and there was like so many wild stories that she was sharing with me. Amazing stuff, you know. So as she was doing it, she was making this pies in the kitchen, and I was just always inspired, like, oh my gosh, I love look watching her doing all of that. And you know, I always she's like, oh, you want to leak the container after I finish, you know. You want to take a spoon.
yeah.
And I'm like, oh sure, you know. But it wasn't nothing that I really craved, you know, eating. And I ended up like by tasting it, now I just want fruit.
Mhm.
um and I was just already creative. I was just like, how can, grandma, what if I do it out of fruits?
Mhm.
Oh, stop it, la la la, like, you know, you need to trust me, you know, what are you doing? You're just, you know, my granddaughter, you
Mhm.
need to do the way I do it. If you don't put egg in it, it won't work, you know. I'm like, it's gonna work, I'm gonna figure out, you know, I'm gonna like we didn't have internet back then. So I went to the library and I was checking in, with like, what can I use in a recipe instead of eggs? And I actually was discovering by myself. I was putting nuts, seeds, or something that makes it more puffy. I was just playing with the food a lot, and that's how I started in the kitchen with my grandma. She was making pierogies with cheese, and I was thinking how I can change that pierogies into form the way I would eat it. So it's like fruity form. So I took a apple and I started putting stuffing in it, like stuffing them with something that I like. I didn't have dates back then. Now we are like spoiled. We have dates. We have all these, but we did have like dried cherries, just other fruit, not just like the ones, not tropical fruit. So I think we had figs in the past. I don't remember dates. We had the raisins, cranberries, stuff like that. So I was like always stuffing them with something, cinnamon. They were my pierogies, and they were laughing always with me. Or when my grandma was like, "Eat my pierogies finally. I'm gonna make you some with cherries inside, okay?" I'm like, "Okay, then I will eat it." But the way I was eating it, you cook them, and then I opened them, and all I ate was the fruit. I'm like, "I love it. Can I get more? What did you eat? A fruit?" And she's like, "You should supposed to eat the whole pie too around it." Yeah, so funny stories. I would say back then I was challenging for them for sure. It wasn't any, but my mom still says that I was very like kind and sweet, so she doesn't feel like I was an issue or anything that I want to eat different. And she just struggled with me to satisfy me with food because there was just like I wanted fruit only, So yeah.
That's cool. That's
Same
awesome.
here with my family too. Oh my god. These kids just want to eat fruit. When they're around to my dad, you got fruit? You eat the banana and ice cream, and eat your dinner first. Then we're gonna have an ice cream, okay? So
that's funny. All right.
yeah.
So as we wrap up, thank you so much for joining. Do you have any
Thank
final
you.
words? Maybe some encouragement for our viewers. I know it's the holiday time that can be stressful. It can be hard to kind of stick to your diet, stick to your fruits. Maybe some final words of encouragement.
Yes. Go and look at yourself in the mirror and say, "I love you," but like truly, like deeply, that you love yourself. I love you. And why I'm on this path. Talk to yourself like you would talk to someone, and make up a conversation, create a conversation and ask yourself what's the most important to you. Is it your health? Then even if it's not about health, it's just it's actually the way you feel, the way you exist on this planet, right? If you feel light, why don't you follow it? Why would you change something for one day, for an hour, that can change your whole entire week or weeks? Because it can make you feel weaker, and you may start coming back to the same bad eating habits if you don't do it consistently. Yeah, right. So I think it's important to give yourself some love over the mirror and give yourself some hugs and love hugs and trust the path, and I like to say follow the truth and trust the nature fully. Never try to, the nature is always right, so I don't see anything natural in cooked meal, let's say, but yeah, I think that would be my my advice, to just believe that always or even send a voice message to yourself. Record how you feel in the worst situation of your life. Just send a voice message to yourself, and then listen to it after you want to do something like that, and this is how I'm gonna feel. Listen. 5 minutes of struggle. Do you want to go through this? No. you know, then just satisfy yourself with big amount of juicy fruit, you know,
Right.
or have some cooked fruits or vegetables, but then hydrate with juices, hydrate with fruits, you know, and also have some fun in life. Don't limit yourself. It depends on what kind of journey you are on. Just push it through, you know, as much as you can. And if you feel you can't make it, then just step back for one night a little bit, and but come back on the right track. If you are really hard-headed and you can do it by yourself, then go for it. But if you can't, just stick with it. I wouldn't step back even for one day.
Awesome. Well,
Not
thank
worth
you
it.
so much for joining today. This
Thank
was a great
thank you for having me.
conversation. Lots of fruit talk, but yeah, I love talking about fruit. I could talk about fruit all day. All right.
Yes.
Well,
Me
all
too.
right. Well, thank you so
Thank you
much,
for having
Magdalena.
me.
Yes.